The rain on Marine Drive was relentless that afternoon, a sudden furious downpour that caught everyone by surprise. Young architect Aarav was caught in the middle of it, his umbrella flipping inside out with a comical pop. He was laughing at his own misfortune, trying to wrestle the rebellious umbrella back into shape when he bumped right into someone. "Sorry, I didn't see you," he stammered, looking up to see a girl just as drenched as he was. But instead of being annoyed, she laughed, a sound so clear and melodious it seemed to cut right through the drumming of the rain. "It's okay," she said, gesturing with her own half-collapsed umbrella. "Looks like we're both battling the monsoon." Her name was Meera, a writer for a local magazine. Her eyes, as dark and deep as the storm clouds overhead, held a mischievous spark that made Aarav's heart do a little flip. They were a funny sight, two drenched souls with useless umbrellas, so they ducked under the awning of a nearby cafe. The warmth of the small shop and the steam rising from their cups of chai created an instant bubble of comfort against the world outside. They talked and laughed, sharing stories as if they had known each other for years, not minutes. The rain had brought them together, and in that cozy cafe, something new and exciting began to brew. As the days turned into weeks, the city of Kochi seemed to play matchmaker. Every time the skies opened up, it was an unspoken signal for them to meet. Those rainy afternoons became their special time. They'd find a quiet spot, and Aarav would sketch the intricate details of old buildings, his pencil flying across the page, while Meera would write, capturing the city's soul in her words. She wrote about the hidden corners, the secret stories whispered by the old walls, and often she wrote about the thoughtful architect who saw beauty in the structures she'd overlooked 1,000 times. They fell into a comfortable rhythm, a quiet understanding that didn't need constant conversation. Their shared silences were as meaningful as their laughter, filled with the simple joy of being in each other's company. They were two creative souls finding inspiration not just in the city they loved, but in each other. One beautiful evening, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Meera took Aarav to her most cherished spot in the city. It was a quiet place by the backwaters, away from the usual hustle and bustle. The water was calm, and someone had set small, glowing lanterns afloat, their golden light dancing on the gentle ripples. The air was still and filled with a sense of magic. As they watched the lanterns drift peacefully, Meera turned to him, her voice barely a whisper above the lapping water. "Do you believe in fate, Aarav?" He paused, the question hanging in the air between them. He thought about the sudden downpour, the broken umbrella, the chance encounter that felt anything but random. Looking into her eyes, which reflected the soft glow of the lanterns, he found his answer. "I do, now," he whispered back. And in that perfect moment, as the moonlight joined the lantern glow on the water, they shared their first kiss. It was gentle, hesitant, and yet full of unspoken promises, a perfect start to a love story that felt written in the stars. But, as with any great story, their journey wasn't destined to be a simple, straight line. Love, they were about to discover, is often tested by life's unexpected turns. Just as their bond deepened, Aarav received news that was both a triumph and a trial. His firm was offering him a major promotion, a fantastic career opportunity he had worked years for. The catch: the position was in Bengaluru, hundreds of miles away from the monsoon-scented streets of Kochi, and more importantly, far away from Meera. He was torn. His ambition pulled him in one direction, his heart in another. He spent sleepless nights wrestling with the decision, the joy of his professional success overshadowed by the ache of potential loss. Meera saw the struggle in his eyes. She listened as he talked about his dreams and his fears. And instead of asking him to stay, she gave him the greatest gift she could, her unconditional support. One evening, as they sat by the water, she took his hand and said, "Love doesn't confine, Aarav. It grows, it adapts, it waits." Her words were a balm to his troubled soul. She wasn't holding him back, she was setting him free to chase his dreams, trusting that their connection was strong enough to withstand the distance. On his last evening in Kochi, the rain began to fall again, a soft, gentle drizzle this time, as if the city itself was bidding him a quiet farewell. They stood on the Marine Drive pier, the place where their story had almost begun. Aarav held Meera's hand tightly, making a silent vow to himself and to her. "No matter how far I go or how long it takes, I'll come back to you." A smile touched Meera's lips, though her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "And I'll be here, waiting," she promised. "The monsoon, the city. Everything will remind me of you. The years that followed were a testament to their promise." Distance was a challenge, but their love became a bridge that spanned the miles. They had late-night phone calls where Aarav would describe the sterile glass buildings of Bengaluru and Meera would describe the familiar scent of rain on the Kochi soil. They sent each other packages. Aarav would send books on modern architecture, and Meera would send him her latest published stories with handwritten notes in the margins. Every visit back to Kochi was a celebration, a precious pocket of time where they would revisit their favorite cafes and walk along the backwaters, picking up right where they left off. The waiting wasn't easy, but it strengthened their bond, proving that their love wasn't just a fleeting romance born from a rainstorm, but something real and enduring. Then, one day, Aarav returned to Kochi for good. He came back not just as a successful architect, but as a man who knew exactly where his home was. He carried with him a ring and a heart full of a promise he was ready to fulfill. He found Meera, of course, at Marine Drive. The sky was a familiar canvas of gray, and a gentle monsoon shower was beginning to fall, just as it had on the day they met. Under that same rain-soaked sky, on the very pier where their love had first truly bloomed, Aarav got down on one knee. He looked up at Meera, his face earnest, his voice filled with all the love he'd held onto through the years of distance. "Will you marry me?" he asked. Tears of joy streamed down Meera's face, mingling with the raindrops. With a laugh that echoed their very first meeting, she whispered, "Yes." As they embraced, the monsoon rained down upon them, a familiar, comforting presence, blessing the end of one chapter and the beautiful beginning of their forever. Theirs was a love story shaped by the city and its seasons, a tale of fate, patience, and to hearts that knew, no matter the distance, they would always find their way back to each other. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales of love and destiny. See you in the next video.